All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. We're going to be heading to Winco. You guys might have heard of that store, but the last time I was in there, they really kind of set up their preparedness area. So they have kind of this wall with bulk foods, with storage buckets and oxygen absorbers and that kind of stuff. So if you need something now, probably be a good time to get it. All right, so this is a spot over here where you got your preparedness stuff. You got buckets, you got gamma lids or the standard ones. I'm going to get 2 of these. Here. Looks like they have little mini gamma lids.
Yeah, maybe.
A couple of those.
That might be a good idea for some stuff that's like smaller.
Smaller,
things.
Yeah. So you got your Mylar bags, oxygen packs, bucket openers. Hey, we got MREs here.
Oats. Quinoa, organic stuff.
Quinoa and all that stuff. They have some of this stuff right here. Milk. Powdered milk, that's pretty good. All right, so that's Winco. Let's just, you want to try a couple of these MREs? Chicken and rice?
Chicken and rice sounds safe-ish.
Done, we're set.
Are we going home now?
Set for the end of the world. Mrs. D is going to be helping me out tonight doing a kind of a review of some products that we've stacked up for the last, I don't know, 1 or 2 months or so.
Yeah,
We've kind of been building it up. Some of it we've had for quite a while, and we're mixing some of the older, camping gear, and we've had some food storage. Since we've been at the old house, I guess, some of it.
Yeah,
but we've kind of been beefing that up. We've talked about that on some previous videos with this coronavirus, the Wuhan Fluhan, I call it Fluhan. That embarrasses her.
I don't call it anything.
She doesn't call it. She tries to stay
just
out of
the
it.
virus.
This is, she doesn't. Mrs. D doesn't want to make any waves with anybody. I do. That's my thing. But we're going to be showing you some of the stuff we've prepared for that as well, kind of at the end, and then we have a giveaway. Stay tuned for that at the end of the video. I'll tell you about that. All right, so let's get started. We're going to go through some of the stuff that we've stacked up for our preparedness plan, and we're going to get started on that right now. Let's go for it. All right, so the way I look at it is preparedness is kind of a series of layers. What you're looking at right here on the table is the layer of, kind of if we're home and we have to kind of hunker down for a little bit at home. It requires some sort of infrastructure, right? I mean, we need something to cook with. We're going to be probably having some sort of flowing water, even though we have a little bit of storage here. But it requires, kind of a home base. This is like kind of a bug-in scenario, right?
I don't know what's happening.
All right, so this is what I call like layer number 1 right here. This is the get home bag. So I work about 25 miles away from home. So if I had to, if the bridges are down or traffic goes bad and we can't get home, I'm gonna have to walk. So I have in here really quick food. I have some basic filtration. I have a radio. I have that kind of stuff. So this is a really quick and light bag, and this rotates between another couple of EDC bags that I just decide to switch out every now and then. Once you're home, then we've kind of started beefing up this area right here for the family, because we have a couple of kids, and we need to provide for all of us, right? Once that happens. So
definitely want food.
You definitely want food, and that's the main thing. So on this side of the table we have food, and maybe you can talk about like what you need to make bread.
So definitely in an emergency situation you would want to have all the ingredients for making bread, because that would be a really good staple to have, just as it is any day, right? So we've got the big Costco-sized double pack of organic unbleached white flour.
And that stuff lasts quite a while.
Yes.
The white flour actually lasts quite a while. It's the whole wheat flour that goes bad.
Yeah.
We'll show you that later. We actually have a wheat grinder.
Yes.
And we store wheat berries in another one of these big bins, but we're not gonna get into that today. If you don't have a wheat grinder, white flour, right? I mean.
Yeah, so you can add that in, and you can do wheat bread as well.
But yeah, the whole wheat stuff it'll go rancid quick, so you have to use
grind that as you use it. So only when you're gonna make the bread you grind.
Yeah. So we'll get into that in another video. I didn't have room to show that.
Yeah.
All right, what else for bread?
Okay, so then of course you need yeast.
Bread biscuits and stuff too, right? Like you can make
biscuits or tortillas or
simple
anything
stuff.
like that. we have a lot of yeast. You don't need a lot for a couple loaves of bread, so this would last a really long time.
But you went and got some of this at what, Costco recently, so
yeah.
stocked up on it.
Salt, of course. Salt lasts a long time too.
Yeah, and we're not showing all this stuff as an example. So I'm showing you like one or two of these things. We've actually gone, other than this right here, which we just didn't take out of the bag, but you know, we have buckets of these, several buckets in the garage, and then more of this and more of that. We're just showing you kind of an example of what you might want to consider stocking up on as staples. You know, obviously the more things you normally have, just add that to it. But like this is stuff you can kind of stash for, you know, get some extra. Just get a little bit extra. Don't go crazy, but just get some extra. You know, you might need it. So
and then also if you do like a wheat bread. You want to probably stock up on like maybe a big jug of honey would help, which that does not expire.
Doesn't expire,
that's always good to have. We didn't put.
We have some really good honey around here too, like locally. It's really
it's good to use
stuff.
Local honey if you can, because it's good for allergies and that sort of thing.
It builds up your allergy immunity and stuff.
So if you want it to be from the region that you live in.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah, and then water, of course, for bread. So you know, we'll talk about the Berkey.
So you got your flour, you got your salt, yeast, and then what I've done is, like, obviously if you have a refrigerator, you can have butter and milk and all that kind of stuff, but let's just say that power goes out for a while. This goes for anything. This isn't like some sort of, you know, paranoid virus kind of thing. This is like if the power goes out for an extended amount of time for any reason, it's nice to have a little bit of butter. So I have, or oils and butter. So we have a bit of this ghee, which is clarified butter. We don't really use this, but we've
never tried it before.
Yeah,
but
so
we just heard about it.
And so this stuff is shelf stable. All this stuff right here that I'm showing you is pretty much shelf stable, right? And it's like normal foods that you normally eat, but it can sit out in in a pantry without any power. That's just regular
butter, but it can.
And I've heard this stuff is actually really good.
Yeah, this was pretty expensive, wasn't it?
It's pretty expensive, but it lasts for years, and I think it has a date on there, but. Apparently that's just like regular butter, so it's just shelf stable. You don't need a refrigerator for it. So I have a couple of those. They're expensive. Ghee is kind of expensive, actually, but it's much more common than that. You can get ghee at like pretty much any store, so that makes it nice. So grab some of that. You can cook with it. You know, you can use it for pancakes, or you can mix some of this stuff and have be able to have your non-stick type stuff. Add a little bit of oil. I have some coconut oil, but I didn't show that.
Yeah,
these are egg powder. This is egg powder. So we're looking at things like protein, carbs, and protein, right? So eggs are always good. You can make scrambled eggs with this. These are pretty common.
This is like what, year and a half from now is the Best Buy.
Yeah, it's Best Buy.
It goes longer than that.
Yeah, and this should go longer, but this is Ova Easy, pretty common. This stuff's not cheap either, but and you can use this for camping. If you don't want to bring eggs out camping, this is totally shelf stable. Mix water in it, heat it up, you have scrambled eggs, or you can use it as an egg
What's this one, powdered
substitute.
Milk?
And then the kids love, our kids just like drink crazy amounts of milk. Now I realize powdered milk is not always that good, but you may be able to trick them, maybe mixing it in with chocolate milk or cereal or something like that.
It'd be good for baking or cooking or whatever.
But yeah, this stuff, this is Augason Farms. These guys are pretty well known in the preparedness community. They have tons of different freeze-dried foods, and this is dry milk. So people give this a pretty good review. So you kind of have to go on it. I'm not going to crack it open. I don't like, I don't like dried milk or powdered milk, but
in an emergency, it would be probably wonderful. Anything is great in an emergency, right?
And it just add water. Shelf life 20 years. So
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
so you definitely
you don't have to worry
about
it. You don't have to worry about it. It's expensive, but you don't have to worry about it. It'll make you. It'll make I think several gallons of milk, right? And you mix it all up, and you're good to
amazing.
Go. A lot of people have to have their coffee. Well, this is another option. So milk. We're talking milk.
Almond milk.
If you have stomach problems, anyways, a lot of people have this anyhow. But this is shelf stable. This lasts a year.
And go with your oatmeal. Or
it goes. I put this in my oatmeal. I'm not like a hippie.
I put it in my oatmeal. I'm not a hippie either.
Mrs. D is a hippie. A little bit.
Not even a little
slight
bit.
Hippie.
Nope.
No, not hippie. Okay, whatever. We'll talk about this off camera. But this is shelf stable. We got a bunch of those. Mrs. D picked up a bunch of these from Costco. You got them at Costco, right? A big brick of them. So we're stacking those in the pantry out in the garage, our long term, and it's good for a year. And we're going to use those and rotate them. But it kind of gives you a milk alternative, and you can mix it in with stuff, and it tastes pretty good.
And then, of course,
you got to have your coffee, right?
Coffee.
Now this is kind of a lot of this stuff when you're talking long term is not cheap. This is no exception. I saw this at Safeway.
Oh, you know what else?
You can get this at Safeway.
I heard this, that instant coffee also does not expire.
Oh, okay.
That's what I heard.
I know the flavor goes a little weird if you open it.
But
it soaks up whatever's the air. But this is organic. This is Mount Hagen. Pretty
it's got
common.
a date on it, but it's probably like Best By.
Yeah,
before
I mean,
the flavor changes.
And this stuff actually tastes pretty good. It's organic coffee made in Germany. It's kind of expensive, but it lasts quite a while. I mean, you put a little bit in your water. All you have to do is heat up water, put a little thing in there. It's old school kind of Folger style coffee, but it's organic, and it actually tastes like decent diner coffee. I think it's very kind of.
We also have that
palatable.
other one that we got from
Fred
Meyer.
If you look around, most of the major stores carry it's probably the same stuff. I'm guessing the same stuff. It's probably the same stuff.
It's not as
Dark.
Chunky of grain.
Yeah, a little different.
It's more powder.
But it's organic. If you look around, you can find organic, freeze dried, instant coffee. And so a lot of people get worked up about what kind of coffee. That's so easy, fast. Put water in it. You're already boiling water for your other stuff. You can just make a little extra.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything other than go. And you can bring that camping and whatever.
Oh.
So now we're gonna get to canned foods. So when you get into the dry stuff, you can always stash a few extra, bits of canned food. And what I'm looking at here is not necessarily like chicken noodle soups. There's a lot of water in that, and it's like you kind of get bored with that. I'm looking at stuff that you can make other things with, right?
Yes.
So this is tuna. You can make sandwiches. You can make,
Casserole.
casseroles. You can make whatever. If you have your oven going, you can do whatever. But you can eat it straight. But it's really easy to throw on some bread or biscuits or whatever and make it. And then this right here is this is like a chunk of
canned salmon. Yeah, the bone is even in there.
Yeah, it literally just looks like a chunk of salmon.
Take the bone off and.
Yeah, and I've noticed that the small bones are kind of they're there, but it's so canned that they dissolve. It's not that big a deal. It's a little strong. I wouldn't call this stuff that we tried it the other night. We tried this the other night, and it's not like super good, but it passes as salmon. It's not bad, and it's fresh caught. It's not farmed, so it's decent.
And this is your favorite one, canned
chicken.
It pretty much tastes like canned tuna. I think. I don't know.
But see, out in the long-term storage, we have rice stored, we have pasta stored. I'll show you some of that. We have beans in there. So with this kind of stuff, you could make a decent dish for.
Or even like you can make bread and then have like a chicken salad sandwich or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of this stuff you're going to be using, like if you have a garden, you can supplement, but you can add some protein to whatever you have. And this stuff is easy to store, and it actually tastes okay. You can make whatever you want out of it.
This is the fun part.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into the pre-prepared stuff right now. So, some people roll into the comments and they're like, "Well, you should just have MREs for all of your food stores." Like, I disagree with that. MREs aren't that good. Okay, Mrs. D likes them again. She's the only one who eats them in our family. I don't
think I've ever had one.
Oh, that's right. Whatever. just roll with it.
Okay. Delicious.
So, MREs are fine if you want something now, and there's something to be said for that. So we have a little bit, a very small amount of MREs. That means if we're on the road or we need to get something really quick, it's pre-made, it's pre-cooked, everything is good to go. It lasts a long time. The nutritional value does go down over time, but they should be safe to eat for quite a few years, even after the expiration date. You can get this at Winco. We picked some up on our little food trip just for fun. But again, Winco's pretty good for preparedness type stuff. They have these brand new for sale, and then they have the heaters, the flameless heaters. So you don't need any fire or anything like that. You can get yourself a warm meal. But I wouldn't rely on these completely for everything. Like, this is something you would do if you're on the move. So everybody rolls in and says you should just have MREs. Like, I disagree. I think you don't need MREs if you're bugging in. You have canned food for that. It's way cheaper. It's easier to get. This is more like if you're on the move and you don't have any way to warm anything up. That's cool. That's fine. So have a little bit of that laying around. You can always throw it in a backpack if you're hiking or whatever. That's pretty nice. And then what we have here, we picked this up. Let's go into the long-term type stuff. We just picked this up at Winco. It's a brand new Gamma lid. We've used these Gamma lids for years. And the way these work, pretty simple. There's a lot of videos on these in particular, but they're pretty neat. They have a nice rubber seal right here. And you just take a little mallet, and I haven't set this one up yet because it's brand new, but you just you can press it down or you pound it down on there, and then it'll seal. And then inside then of course there's an O-ring on here, and it's pretty good. It's not like, you know, super hermetically sealed, but it's like, it's really easy to get to whatever's in there. So, you know, we'll put some Mylar packs of stuff, like this is oatmeal that we packed in Mylar. And we're going to be using this as time goes on, so it's not like going to be in here for 10 years, but it may be in here for a year, you know, before we get to it. And then I'm going to be packing some Mylar around this. This is just a bunch of pasta. So, you know, you can kind of make a variety pack, or you can put like bulk rice or beans or whatever in these things and just label it and you're done. But the way these work is once you have that set up, you know, you don't need any special tools. You just screw this thing down nice and tight and then you're good to go. You know, we have 25 pounds of rice, we got a bunch of beans out there, we've got grains, we've got some other stuff going on. And then we're gonna pack this down oatmeal. We got like 25 pounds of organic oatmeal that we use every day. And so there's breakfast, there's meals, you know, and all you need really with that is just water. We covered this, guys, you remember the videos we just did recently on the Ready Hour. So we have a couple of these. There's a month's supply for one person. So that means for us, we probably have a couple weeks of food just with this. You put some of this in with it and now you extend it, right? But these are pretty kind of neutral or maybe a little more bland type foods. But if you can, you know, add in some of this stuff, now you just extend it. So you're looking at...
The kids liked it.
The kids like it, yeah. So I mean,
they really like it a lot.
And so this is nice. This has breakfast foods in it. It's a little bit more calories than the 72-hour kit. I think they figure 2,000 calories per day per person with this, so that's pretty good. So these are pre-prepared, and then of course everybody knows about the Mountain House. Now what you're looking at, so you have your MREs already pre-prepared, don't even need any fire or heat or anything other than that chemical heater. Then you have your sort of like bug-in scenario with water, and you need a stove to cook it. And then this one you just need, you know, of course Mountain House, everybody's familiar with it, but it's freeze-dried food. And you just need hot water, pour it in the bag, it's good to go. So these two are really good for like, if you gotta be on the move, if you're backpacking.
Right.
We've used these, I mean,
we've eaten these
tons of
so many times,
Yeah.
backpacking, hiking, and they are good.
they're great, they taste
Yes,
good. They're a little salty,
awesome.
but if you're hiking, it's fine.
It's perfect for hiking. I mean, it's
And it's all
amazing
self-contained.
to have when you're hiking.
And you can zip it all back up. So, I mean, it's just nice for, you know, the kids like it when you get a hot meal when you're out on the trail and you're kind of cold. So that's kind of the food supply staples and that kind of stuff. So the main problem with all of that is being able to cook that when you need to. So obviously if your range is working, that's fine. I mean, you know, maybe we have a gas range, so even if the power goes out, our range still works. I don't know if you can light the oven. I think you can. I know you can light the range part. That's no problem. But if that goes out, what you're going to want is some way of cooking stuff. So I believe I've showed this. I believe I've shown this in years ago, and we still use it. And this is a butane stove, and they're powered by these little bottles right here. And whenever I'm at the store, I pick up a couple extra. They're only like $1 or $2 a piece. Sometimes you can find deals on them. They're really convenient, and you can use this. Well, don't go off my recommendation, but a lot of people use these for potlucks and buffets and stuff like that. And it's no different really than using your gas range. They burn really clean. There's no smell, and they're really easy to operate. You just turn the thing on and go. The thing they don't work good in is when it's cold out and when you're at high elevations. These tanks in here freeze up and they just don't work very good. So you'll want some other, like a Coleman stove, which we have a Coleman stove, a white gas, and I got another gallon of fuel for that. Yeah. So, but you'll be wanting to use that outside. They kind of smell. And
what brand is this one?
This is a Camp Chef. That's Camp Chef on there, but there's a whole bunch of companies that make this thing, and you can get these for about $15-20. There's no reason not to go out and get one of these. They're just so handy. I mean, I can turn this thing on in a second, and then very safe and easy to use, and you can put a pretty big pot of water on it and cook right on it.
Do you do canning on this even?
I don't think it has enough power for canning.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't. These don't last super long. But if you're doing any of this boiling of water and cooking out a quick meal, it's fine. But you need quite a few of these. They don't go as far as like propane, I don't think, and they freeze up. But they're super convenient, and when you need something fast, it's totally fine. The main thing that you run into with all this stuff is water. So we've had even in our neighborhood where they have like a boil warning where they say, we lost water pressure and there could be something in the water, We had that happen last year, and so we don't use this all the time anymore.
Obviously, it's
Yeah, it's a little dusty.
Yeah.
But it's available. We have the filters ready to go at any time. It's easy to get going. We used to use this every day at our old house.
Yes.
For probably 6 years.
Yes.
7 years.
I think our water is better here than it was there.
And we also have a filter built into our fridge, so we
do.
don't need to
and
use
we
this.
replace it every time it says to replace.
But it's gravity, so if that pressure
Yeah.
goes out, we can always run this thing. So if you have some water stored up, or even if you find something out of a stream, we're around quite a bit of water in this area. There's rivers and streams, and my grandma has a well at her place, so we can always fill up jugs if we had to, and then use it to filter out in this thing if we needed to. So, but this is a Berkey, and these are kind of the first kids on the block with this gravity fed.
There's different sizes
things.
too.
Yeah, this is the Royal Berkey, so it's right in between.
Right.
And it holds like 2.5 gallons of water in it, and it just gravity feeds down, passive, and a couple hours you got clean
you
water.
Pour the water in here. The filters.
They're not in there right
They're
now.
not in right
'Cause
now,
they're
but
being
they're
stored.
in there usually.
Yeah, we keep
on
them
the
dry.
top.
Yeah, we keep them dried and stored.
Drips down into the bottom.
Filters are kind of expensive, but they last a long time. So, it's good to have some sort of filtration, and this stuff, if there's any of these boil warnings or whatever, I don't have any problem putting water in there. I would trust it 100% to filter out all the viruses and that kind of garbage, so that's good. So water's the main thing. So if you can't, have a bunch of it stored, at least have a good filter. There's nothing, I don't really have any particular brand of these that I like, but just have some sort of jug of water that you can haul stuff around in. We're going to be getting a couple more of these just so we have it. A lot of these are 5 to 7 gallons. This is the 7-gallon one. It is not really stackable, but this one comes with a spigot, which makes it nice. A lot of them don't have that, and that makes it pretty cool. All right, so lighting. So there's a lot of options with lighting. I'm not going to go into all this, and I'm going to do a separate review on this later. This is there's 2 battery-powered night lights in here that charge up automatically. So they're rechargeable.
You just keep them in the socket.
They keep in the socket. They just act like a normal night light. We bought a couple of them, liked them so much, I bought 2 more. So I might even get a couple more of these things. But what these do is when the power goes out, they automatically turn on or stay on. And then you can pull them out of the light socket and turn them into a flashlight. So I'll do a review on these later, but these are awesome. And then
we're gonna link all this.
Yeah, we'll link
most of what we can.
If we have these, if you can get these on Amazon or whatever, we'll put the link in the description. But for me, get a nice tactical flashlight, something that's bright. This uses 1, 2, 3 batteries or whatever, and it says Surefire. But it doesn't really matter. It just have a good light, by your nightstand, or somewhere where you can get to it. But these are nice because they automatically light up. So you can, the big problem is when the power goes out, you're always looking around for a flashlight.
Yeah, where's the
And so
flashlight?
whenever
the kids
these will be automatically
find them
on.
and play with them.
Yeah, so at least you'll have 4 of these in the house that are always on, and you can at least find other stuff with them. So these are really awesome, and we're going to do a in-depth review on that soon. What else we got? So now we're getting into the meat of stuff here. We're going to move the camera down, get some close-up of the last part of here, and then we'll wrap this sucker up. You've heard it. We've talked about the virus that's going on in China. Obviously, people are a little bit on edge about that here. We're no different. It sounds like a pretty nasty virus, and the reality is, people say, oh, if it hits the fan or if something happens so bad that you have to hunker down. Well, right now in China, they are literally hunkered down. I mean, as we speak, there's people who literally can't go anywhere, and so if they do, they need a mask, and they're like required to have all this stuff. So it's a requirement over there. So here, while you can still get some of this stuff, I know some of it, there's already been a run on a lot of this stuff. You can't even get it. Like those N95 masks are almost impossible to get at this point. They're sold out, or they're really expensive. So they're going to probably come filtering back in over time, but I have a feeling that people are just buying them up. So we've had a couple of different solutions that we've stored for years and had on hand, and we just have them ready to go. And then some other stuff that I'll kind of recommend. But I'm not a pathogens expert. I'm not a doctor. So do this at your own risk. But we try to get as good of gear as we possibly can get and afford, without going overboard on this thing. And then I always like to get gear that I can use for other stuff. So N95 masks, everybody's talking about the N95 masks. You can use those for dust. You can use them for when you're working on, on your, in your shop, or with dust. It won't work for paint or anything like that, any organic sprays, but for dust, I mean, you're not gonna waste your money. If you can get a hold of those, they're not a waste of money, because you should be using them when you're out working on stuff anyways. But what we've opted to go with, obviously you've seen this, we did a video quite a few years ago now, probably 4 or 5 years ago, on our gas mask. I use this thing constantly. This is Mrs. D's gas mask right here. They're a full face respirator. I use on both of these. No, that's for paint.
Oh, I was gonna
So
say.
if you get overspray on it, you can just peel that off and put another one on.
Obviously, I've used it.
But
Okay.
what we've been using are these things, and I'll put a link in the description. But these are the 7093 box filters. They're like a HEPA P100 filter, and they're better than an N95, or they filter the same amount of stuff, a little bit more even. So they'll work for viruses and stuff. They're reusable. I mean, you don't have to throw them away. They're not like a disposable deal. They'll last quite a while. You squeeze them down, and then you can test to see their effectiveness. And then if you get, contaminants on them, I would think, again, do your own research, but I would think you could wipe these off. Whereas the disposable ones, you have to throw them away. So I would say you wipe these things off and then don't touch anything, but you could probably spray these down. They're meant to work in a little bit wetter and hotter environments. So they're pretty good. I've used these for years, and they work great for dust. If you're working out in the shop and getting a bunch of dust everywhere, that's what I use. And then of course you can get the half mask. I have a half mask out there that use the same filters. So any 3M filters work on these masks. They're the common, Home Depot grade, whatever, or you can go as crazy as you want. But the thing with the virus that's going around, everybody's talking about, is your eyes need to be protected. So if you can afford to get something like this, obviously, you can stick this in the sink and wash it down with soap and bleach or whatever you want and get them really clean. They're made to be decontaminated. But this covers obviously your lungs and your face, no problem, right? It's probably the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
You just can't touch it when you take it off. You have to be kind of careful, and then you gotta sanitize it, get it, wash it off with soap and a mixture. There's a procedure that each one of these has for decontamination. But they're fully serviceable. You can take them all apart. Everything comes apart, and you can break them down. So that's top quality stuff. Top quality gloves. Obviously, if you go out, you watch these guys in China, and they're putting on gloves. They're putting on stuff on their feet. They're putting on, if they have it, like PPE type suits. We both have like a Tyvek suit. I have one. You have one. You probably don't even know.
Didn't know.
But we also have a couple here, and that's where we're going to get to the giveaway. But top quality gloves are, from what I can tell, are these Bear Claw. These are called Bear Claw gloves. They're made by North American Rescue. I got a box of these things from back when we were doing these medical kits. So I use these for a lot of stuff. They're like really thick medical gloves, and they have grip, like nice grip on them.
Yeah.
They do look skin colored, so you'll be able to see if there's blood or whatever. It's kind of nasty, but they're top notch gloves. That's kind of what we have for you guys tonight. I hope that was informative. Hope you learned a little bit. We try to practice a little bit of this preparedness, practice what we preach. This is the kind of bug in home type scenario, and remember, what you're seeing here is an example. We're trying to kind of stack up and I guess you could say build up these types of supplies. When we see deals at the store, we just go ahead and get that stuff. And then that's about it. So the other thing we're going to do is a giveaway. So if you guys are not prepared at all, this might be a good giveaway for you, or at least get you started or motivated.
Really started.
Yeah, I found a company called ppekits.com. Go over there, check out what they got. They're putting together these really cool kits. Now, I can't vouch for the medical, quality of these, but from what I can tell, they're pretty top notch. I did not pack these; they packed them. It has their logo on here, ppekits.com. You can call and order from them. But we're going to do 2 giveaways. With this virus, everybody's talking about protect your eyes, and they say, use goggles. Okay, use goggles. I have an Austin Pang branded N95 mask. Pretty basic, very basic. We have a PPE, a large. Both of these are going to be large.
Okay.
Both of us have. I got a couple for us, and then we're going to give 2 away. So these are both going to be in large size, and this is kind of like, it looks like a Tyvek type suit. Probably not. It's not Tyvek, but it's called Tough Guard, and it's called a microporous protective, suit. And so goggles, face mask, and then it comes with gloves, a biohazard bag. So if you're in a bad situation, you want to throw it all away, you can put it in that bag. And then it has a bunch of these handy wipe type
hand
sanitizers, right? So a couple pair of gloves, goggles, mask, PPE kit, everything. So it's all kind of like, hey, this is like if you had to, you could go out and, that's what these guys in China are using. This is probably better than what a lot of these guys are using.
Yeah.
You'd obviously want to find something to wear for shoes, like boots or something to go underneath it, or plastic bags or whatever. But, it's pretty much comprehensive. You can throw this in your kit and then go over, and if you need another one, they're very reasonable. I think these were like $12 a piece or something. I mean, these guys are doing a really good job on the pricing. So I'm not sponsored. I bought these with, we bought them with our own money. They don't know we're doing a video. It seemed like they had some pretty good stuff. I think they're out of California. I don't know a whole lot about them, but it seemed like a pretty good deal. So I like the fact that it's all in one bag.
Yep.
So the giveaway, how are we gonna do the giveaway? Right, in the comment section, we're gonna let this roll for like, let's say a week from after this is posted.
Okay.
A week? We'll decide.
Yeah.
We'll do a posting. We'll do like an update. But in the comment section, you got to be subscribed. You got to subscribe, and then write PPE.
And like this video.
And like this video, PPE. That sounds like a good plan, right?
Yep.
So you have to be subscribed. Write PPE in the comment section, and then we'll run a random.
And like the video.
And like the video, and we'll run a random, name picker, and then we'll send it to whoever. Continental U.S. only. Okay, if it's not continental, we can't do it. And if you're comfortable giving out your address, we'll
But
send
that
it
would
to
just
you.
be privately.
Yeah, we'll do it privately.
Yeah.
We'll get in touch, and then that's it. And then we'll give them away. So
Like, subscribe, PPE in the comments.
PPE in the comments. All right, thanks for watching again, guys. Thanks, Mrs. D, for helping out with this video. Very important. I think people like that. But like, subscribe, share. Mainly subscribe. We like the subscribers. We like to see that go up. And we will see you on the next one. Hope you guys are doing well. Talk to you later.